Let's call the meeting to order, please. Today is Tuesday, May the 26th, here for our regular meeting. We're going to stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy.
Here.
Mr. Keith.
Yes, here.
Mr. Pollock.
Here.
Mr. Smith.
Here.
Ms. Call.
Here.
Thank you. We're going to table the minutes till our next meeting. They're not ready as need to be presented. So we're just going to move that. Next on our agenda is Mr. Ray Greer from Tyndall Air Force Base. And Mr. Greer, we'll give you the floor.
Thank you very much. I'm the project consultant manager for the compatible use plan that's being conducted for Tyndall Air Force Base. And this compatible use plan is not associated with the hurricane, it's not associated with Tyndall rebuilding. It was actually started prior to all of this happening. Actually, it started in October of 18. And these are done all across the country for military installations. And the whole purpose of the compatible use plan process is to come in and take a military installation and you get the local governments and you work with the local governments outside the fence. And so really what we're focused on is the areas outside the fence, inside the study area. I put in your packet, there's a study area map, there's a couple of fact sheet, there's a survey, a couple things in there I'll discuss real quick on regarding that. But on that study area map, the boundary, what the boundary actually is for the area we're studying is a 3-mile radius around Tyndall. So it involves the city of Mexico Beach, city of Panama City, city of Parker, city of Springfield, city of Callaway, and unincorporated Bay County. So all of these entities are working together. We have a policy committee set up and a technical working group. Mario sits on the technical working group, and the mayor is on the policy committee. And we meet periodically. We're getting ready to meet again. COVID-19 slowed us down a little bit on this study. Not only did the hurricane get us early on when we first started, delayed us for a year, and then as we're going through the process, COVID-19 has also slowed us down on doing our meetings. But where we're at right now is we've collected the data for that study area for those local governments in the county, and we're working with Tyndall, trying to develop what their plan is for redeveloping and rebuilding. Because the whole purpose of this is to take their mission footprint and see how it impacts the communities. And then vice versa, we look to see how the communities impact the mission. And of course, with Tyndall really has 2 components that affect outside their fence line. And that is their flight, which is one of their primary missions. And then also the Sky 10 zone, where they test. And that is closest to Mexico Beach, impacts Mexico Beach a great deal. But that area that the noise contours for Sky 10 actually goes all the way back up around, goes into Callaway Parker too, and a portion of Gulf County. So we're analyzing all of those areas in conjunction with each city in the county involved. And what we're trying to do is to identify any kind of issues compatibility-wise for long-term land use, so we can develop strategies. And what we do with the policy committee and technical working group is as we develop any kind of issues or opportunities that come up through this study, we work with the policy committee and the technical working group committee to develop strategies and form recommendations that will actually go into the study. So you'll have a study that identifies the study area. It will analyze each local government separately, and Tyndall, and then focus on the mission of the installation and how the local governments are growing too. And I can say that one of the things that has impacted this study a little bit, we're actually analyzing now, is after the hurricane. Naturally, after the hurricane, we've had a tremendous amount of existing land uses change. And Mexico Beach has had a great deal of existing land uses change. And so has Parker and Callaway and Springfield, and also Panama City. So we're actually mapping, doing some additional mapping, looking at those areas. And then on top of it, we got the change of Tyndall, the mission changing a little bit, going from the F-22 to the F-35. And so right in the middle of it, we've also got the increase in the noise. So we're trying to analyze how that is going to affect the local governments also. And what we plan on doing is after our technical working group, I'm trying to get a technical working group meeting set up in June, is I want to be able to come back to each commission, going around and meeting with each board, and present kind of the draft recommendations, kind of the draft items that we're discovering. And, you know, a lot of these things are, they're policy-based, or they're recommendations for communication and coordination. You know, one of the things that we see through this Pembroke Use Plan is really formulating that neighborhood, you know, neighbor system, and really communicating and coordinating with the local governments and with military installation, trying to form a better relationship between them. And one of the things too that we've got in our study that, or in that packet that's part of the study is the survey. And I would encourage you to take that survey. It is on our website. And the image that has the plane on it actually is our website. It's tyndalljlus.com. And that survey that's in your packet is actually on that website. You can take it visually, and it takes about 3 minutes to go through. It's 19 questions, and the last question is an open-ended question. But we use that to gather information from the public in general, and all that actually goes back into our study and everything that we meet with stakeholders and everything we collect actually goes back and is presented back to the 2 working groups and then back into the study. And hopefully we'll come back and present everything to each local government too. But everybody has an equal seat at the table, each local government and Tyndall, everybody has an each local government and the military installation have an equal seat, equal vote. So as we go through this, we discuss them, we rank the items, and then we bring them back to each local government so you can see individually what the items are in that study. And then in addition to it, the study is paid for by the Department of Defense. It is not given to the military. That money is not given to the military. It's actually given to another sponsor, which is a local government. In this case, it's Bay County. So Bay County is handling the grant process, and the Department of Defense is funding it. Now, they will also fund the recommendations that come out of the study. So they'll give money back, help implement those recommendations. And as I mentioned, a lot of those recommendations are communication, coordination, and policy-based items. I'd be glad to answer questions you may have.
When does the survey need to be completed?
I would like, if you could get it done as soon as possible, I would like to be able to close the survey in another month or so. So we try to leave it open.
Instead of filling this out on paper, but do it on the website, that's the way we need to do it.
Yep.
Right,
And if anybody wants to fill it out on paper and give it to Mario, Mario will give it back to me.
okay.
I actually have a house here in Mexico Beach. I spend a lot of time here.
What other way are you getting the survey out to the people?
And of course, every meeting we go to, we post the survey. We have it on our website, and then we distribute it through the chambers and other different kind of businesses and other ways of contacting businesses to get the item out. The survey. I got postcards. We try to leave them with the local governments. We do workshops, and I've been attending some events. COVID-19 really slowed that down. We'll attend the event, set up a little booth, pass out the survey to get people to take them that way too.
Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook. We do have a Facebook page set up for this, along with the website. But on the website itself, we keep all the information on there. So wherever we're at, there's going to be a meeting or any documentation we have. It's available on the website too. So you can get the maps, you can get the fact sheets, everything.
Okay. Thank you for coming over.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much.
And my card is in that packet, and you
Yeah.
feel free to reach out to me anytime if you have any questions or need any information. I'll be glad to address it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for those that are here? Ray, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, by way of introduction, if y'all haven't met our Newberry representative engineering, is Josh Baxley. He is here with us, and he is going to handle the first 4? Is that right?
With the exception of number one.
Yeah,
number one. One is ours.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, starting at 2, all right. Sorry about that, Josh, I jumped the gun. We have a resolution 20-10, regular council meeting be held second and fourth Tuesday at 9 a.m. Do I have a motion to read resolution 20-10 by title only?
Make a motion to read resolution 2020-10 by title only.
Second.
Have a motion second. Madam Clerk? would you
A
read it?
resolution relating to the times and procedures for city council meetings and workshops, providing for severability and immediate effective date.
All right, before we make a motion to adopt, are we still on board for 9 a.m.? Is there any second thoughts at the table? Everybody good?
You good, me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Motion to adopt?
I make a motion to adopt resolution 2020-10.
So,
Have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy,
Yes.
Mr. Keith,
Yes.
Mr. Pollock,
yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Paul.
Yes.
All right, then we'll put out a reminder next week, or next meeting, so that we'll have everybody here at 9 o'clock. Okay. All right, Josh, sorry about that. Josh Baxter, for those of you who hadn't met him, is with Dewberry, and, he's gonna handle the next 3 items. Go ahead, Josh.
All right, item number 2, is a proposal to create construction standards, and maybe a better title of that would have been standard details for the city of Mexico Beach for construction. For instance, you know, if we have a contractor putting in a water service, it'll be a standard Mexico Beach water service detail, which makes the bidding process easy, also makes it easy on Thomas's behalf if he goes to change a meter, does anything. We have standard details all over town. Good news is, there's a fee for $3,500. Dewberry's gonna do that free of charge. So there's no fee for those construction details. We'll have an AutoCAD file and a PDF file. That'll be provided to the city. We'll keep it as well, and as anybody builds, whether it's another engineering firm, we'll pass those on, and we'll have Mexico Beach standard details. We won't be using anybody else's details but ours.
We thank you for that.
Excellent,
Yeah.
yes.
That's very nice.
Because that comes in awful handy.
All right, number 3 is,
We don't need a motion, but I would like everybody to, it is an affirmative action that we're taking, that all of a sudden, all of these meters, all of these valves, all of these controls are specific to us. And the good thing about that is it makes everything compatible. There will be somebody out there that says, well, why are you using Maori instead of Yates and everything else? It's just, I wanted to clarify that. Once he puts these specifications together, there are some things that are gonna be that level of specific that it's what we need. I mean, we don't want a valve that is not compatible with his overall system. To give you an idea, meters, when somebody goes in and does meters for an entire subdivision, if they don't use the right meter that is compatible with our meter to read it, tell it with a telephone, it wouldn't be compatible. So again, just to clarify.
Okay.
So you're saying no motion, there's not actually a resolution or a task order, we're just gonna get the documents?
Yes, sir.
Moving on.
all right, item number 3 is a professional services fee proposed for Sunset Park. So basically, this proposal is for us to do all engineering necessary to get the required permits to construct Sunset Park. The major portions of this is the permitting can't fall under the EFO, so it will require coastal construction control line permitting. Also, with the restroom facility, we will have to be at an elevation 17.1, which is the lowest structure elevation, which is roughly 3.5 to 4 feet above center line of highway, roughly about that same elevation above what was the existing grade before. So we'll have some permitting with the EP to go along with that, and coordination with an architect, the same way that we did with the marina project. And then, of course, inspection services to see that throughout construction.
Okay, this is a resolution that requires action on our part if we are inclined. Are there questions for Josh while he's here to talk about?
Mayor, if I can
Yep.
add one piece. This is a FEMA project that we're going after. His fees, along with the architect's fees, would be paid through the FEMA system. His cost was shared with our FEMA consultant to make sure that it was in line and not over what FEMA will reimburse, and it is in line with what FEMA will reimburse.
I think Josh mentioned, this is lump sum, right?
Everything is lump sum.
And that's 25,945. One second, back on the
Correct.
first page.
Do we have a design yet, or we just
This is for the design.
Well, the CCL line threw a kink in the armor about the, trying to expedite Sunset Park. That's not gonna work, because I thought DEP was waived that. I don't know where I got, unless I dreamed that. I don't know, but anyway, they did.
Can we've had some money contributed to that, a grant toward that specific project?
Yes.
At least one person I know of, Mrs. Winsome McIntosh, yeah. I've done a little work for her in landscape. She asked me what's going on. Can we give her a courtesy call to let her know kind of what,
Sure.
give her an update? That would make her, because I know she's spoken to you before, but it's been a long time. So, but she gave money and she's just, wanting to know why wouldn't we spend it? So that would just be a nice courtesy if you would.
The whole FEMA process, one of the things that came out of our multitude of meetings is on the park side, we were not gaining any ground on how much money we were gonna get allocated for all 7 projects as one project.
Mm-hmm.
So part of the discussion about 3 or 4 meetings ago, 2 months ago, was to not do one standalone 428 project for all of the parks. We're gonna go after individual projects.
Pieces,
So this will
right.
be the first one of those that we're going after as a standalone project.
And time frame for having all that stuff prepared, what do you think?
Well, a lot of that, the CCL permitting, could be 60, 90 days,
Okay.
plus in itself. I think in that time that we're working on the CCL permitting, we can have most of the design, and a lot
Excellent.
of that'll hinge on
Yeah.
the coordination with the architect. I feel like there'll be some stormwater involved, but I feel like that'll either be covered by an exemption or a 10-2 permit, which should be pretty quick.
Now, to bring up your point, Mayor, we're gonna do a pretty simple build back, right? Not a,
Keep
really?
in mind that the CCCL line is gonna keep simple elevated to, it's gonna have to be on piles. And the floor deck is gonna have to be at elevation 17 and the roadway is at elevation 16. So it's gonna be up above the roadway. So chances are it's an elevated deck.
Mhm.
Chances are it's gonna have piles. So the idea of a simple slab on grade that we can do quickly is,
Well, I think the other one was elevated, wasn't it?
Bathroom was.
The bathroom was,
Bathroom.
that's what I mean. Because that's,
The, whole barn /
yeah,
pavilions were slab on grade.
right, okay, all right. And so now you're saying all that has to be up there as well. Okay, gotcha. All right.
Other questions? Do I have a motion to read resolution 20-12?
Make a motion to read resolution 20-12 by title only.
All right, is there any
Second.
opposition to that? You have a second? Thank you. Please, Nancy.
A resolution of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, approving task order 20-02 to the master service agreement for professional services with Dewberry Engineering, Inc. for Sunset Park repairs, design permitting, bidding and contract award, and construction inspection for a total proposed fee of $25,945, authorizing execution and providing an effective date.
Is there a motion to adopt?
Make a motion to adopt resolution 20-12. I need to put the name down.
Second.
It's in there. Have a motion to second. Any further questions? Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Key?
Yes.
Mr. Pollock?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Paul?
Yes.
All right, Josh.
All right, item number 4 is another lump sum task order. This one is for citywide street repair. Not long after the hurricane, basically a disaster damage restriction was performed for all the street systems in Mexico Beach. And that was basically tallied up into a spreadsheet, and there were areas on each street and entire streets that were identified that had cracking or it either had your base compromise or needed resurfacing or a combination thereof. This task order is to actually perform the engineering in order to get a biddable set of plans ready to make repairs to the street systems. It will include 23rd and 33rd Street, which are unpaved. It will also include Oleander. So, and this will be a combination of resurfacing, patching, could be some reclaiming in there, and then some of it will just be paving unpaved streets.
And it does, this is an obligated project. Some monies have and will be released here shortly for this project that will pay for the design and construction of the first, couple months worth of construction. The total project is approximately $1.7 million, and I believe we're gonna receive about $400,000 up front. It will include the paving of 2 roads that the city had previously considered paving. It will have to be carved out because it's not funds that, are appropriated through FEMA, but it's in our best interest to get more asphalt down at one time, so it'll bring our cost.
Where are these 2 roads?
That'll be 23rd and 33rd. That'll be
23rd and
carved out of the bid.
33rd?
23rd and 33rd.
I don't know where that's at yet, let's see.
What happens with Oleander and the water line? Is that covered somewhere else?
Those are, we have the water side of it is a completely separate project that we've gone after, and that will be paid for mainly by impact fees. There'll be some component that will be the city, but then the resurfacing is captured under this project.
Well, that line's gonna be moved.
Yes, sir. And that project has already been bid
It's already been bid, and I think it's had a notice of award.
for the water side of it, not the asphalt side.
The only reason I asked that question, if we're gonna move that line, then that means we have to tear that road up.
Yes, sir.
So when will the road, how will that be coordinated between the road being torn up and the road being repaired or being put back? That's my question.
He's gonna design as quick as he can so that by the time he builds it, we're putting asphalt over top.
Okay. I mean, y'all,
Oleander is ready.
Even the asphalt side of it.
Everything's designed on Oleander, so our part is done. Basically, when all the fund allocation is settled, we'll give the contractor notice to proceed because the one contractor will be doing both jobs. It's just where the payment is coming for the contractor, so we'll be able to coordinate.
oh, okay, so that, it's not 2 separate contracts.
Oleander is ready to go right now. It's permitted, it's.
Okay, I got
And it stays a one-way.
Correct.
you. Okay, awesome. Other questions on street repair, street paving? This has been a long process too. We argued and then re-argued, and I think then Mario and Dina argued some more as far as what we thought FEMA was obligated to pay. And so this is a pretty comprehensive. I guess that obviously you can see the areas that are.
And those are the areas, the ones that are colored.
Everything is blue. It's a bad color we used on the map, but it's
Okay.
quick.
And so even Oleander's supposed to be blue?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
just a dark blue that's so dark that it looks black.
Okay, so all these areas that are colored are the ones?
Yes.
The lines that look heavier than the other lines are.
Okay.
That's
pretty
it.
much the asphalt.
I'll do better on the colors next time.
No,
Red-
no,
red-
this is fine, I didn't know, I think you did a great job, so.
All right, do I have a motion to read resolution 20-13?
I make a motion to read, resolution 20-13.
So,
Have a motion and second. Please do so.
A resolution of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, approving task order 2020-03 to the master service agreement for professional services for citywide street repair, design permitting, bidding and contract awards and construction inspection of the city's damaged street system for a total fee of $98,775, authorizing execution and providing an effective date.
Motion for adoption?
Make a motion to adopt resolution 20-13.
Second.
Any further questions? Call the roll, please.
Mayor Cass?
Yes.
Mr. Peak?
Yes.
Mr. Pollock?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
All right, Josh.
All right, item number 5, is another task order, for citywide parking and sidewalk repairs. As we spoke about in the streets, and I do not have a map like I do with this, but the sidewalks, or sidewalk on 98, 15th, 32nd, St. Charles, and St. Francis. And of those roadways, we had approximately 27,521 square feet of sidewalk that was identified during the disaster damage reporting process that was identified as damaged, cracked, or, in need of repair. So, a large portion of this will be to identify those areas, determine the repair, and reinstall it in 8 to ADA standards. Combined with this is also the citywide parking, so the parking area at Toucans that is no more, that'll be designed, repaved, and also any repairs to the civic center area also is included in this fee proposal.
And this again is obligated by FEMA.
And these sidewalks are the ones that are missing in front of some of that they're trying to fix now. Okay. Do they get compensated if they go ahead and fix that, or what, I don't understand what the deal is.
I can't.
I don't even know if that's on our property. Is that on our property for some of those?
I think that's inside there. The only one that I know that's being done is there at 19th Street, whatever, 19th Street, yeah.
There was one that was a paver one,
Yeah, they're putting that back. They've got
Yeah.
it laid out. I'm assuming.
But that was
they're
on their
gonna
property,
Paver
but-
it back, or they're gonna,
At paver one is probably on, more than likely on.
but we
private
allow
property.
them, not only that, it's required now under the new construction, under the new, if you build
whatever, you gotta
whatever,
put a side.
you got,
Okay,
so, we'll just let them put it back. And I don't think that's on the right of way.
yeah, 'cause I don't
I
even know
think
what that
that's
right of
on
way
there.
is.
I believe that one's far enough off that I could be wrong, but
Mhm. Well, they're both pretty far off the road.
yeah. Okay, questions about sidewalks?
The only one I got has nothing to do with what we got, is the walkover at 15th Street and the bridge. Have we heard anything from the state on doing that?
That proposed, that's about when the corona started, so. BCO, BCT or whatever, going on.
Mm-hmm. That's always been
Yeah,
a
that's-
issue of mine.
That's bad. We can't get people, get off that bridge. Do I have a motion to read resolution 20-14?
Make a motion to read resolution 20-14.
Second.
Second.
Have a second. Ms. Lindsay, please.
A resolution of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, approving task order 2020-04 to the Master Services Agreement for professional services for citywide parking and sidewalk repair with Dewberry Engineers, Inc. To assist with the design permitting, bidding and contract award and construction inspection of the city's damaged street system for a total fee of $34,450. Authorizing execution and providing an effective date.
Motion for adoption.
Make a motion to adopt resolution 20-14.
Second.
Have a motion second. Call the roll, please.
Mayor Cassidy?
Yes.
Mr. Peak?
Yes.
Mr. Pollock?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Before we leave that, I mentioned to Mario that I want to be in the record, and, when we deal with sidewalk, I don't know when this will get done, but with the amount of construction in town, or it doesn't even matter, when these sidewalks are put in and they're damaged by someone building a house and backs over them or whatever, that we need to have pictures. And it ought to be something that's in the actual development order process that they're responsible for sidewalk damage. We shouldn't have to pay for that because a concrete truck backed over it and left it that way.
Agreed.
So, I hope we somehow integrate that into some kind of policy so that they know when they get their permit, they're responsible for that. I guess that could be, I don't know how we do that,
I'll talk to Bo and see if they can put a,
but
part of your permit application is a photograph of the sidewalk in front of your.
yeah, something, make it so that, because we got into that not long after the sidewalks were first put in, and they said, well, I don't think we did that. Well, I'm just saying, we need to do something. Okay, moving on. Where are we? Number 6.
I
We're ready.
I can open this one up and.
Okay, this is a joint venture?
Joint venture.
Okay.
This is change order number 4 for MX1. And basically this is for testing and repair on 3 existing pumps and also some base elbow repair, that was found during the construction of the lift station. Thomas can go into a little more detail about exactly what it is.
Base elbows in the bottom of the lift station, as we set pumps in, that's what the pump locks onto at the bottom of the wet well. It's bolted to the bottom of the wet well, it keeps the pumps from rotating, twisting, or coming loose. That's what sends the sewer back up, so to the pipes. 2 of them were damaged at MX1. In other words, if we leave them and do not repair them, when we go to set these new 75 horse pumps that has thousands of pounds of torque on them, the first thing the pumps will do is snap them off, and we'll be right back to where we are at square one with a broken lift station that feeds the entire city, basically. So I talked to the contractor. They're going to replace them. There's 2 of them that are damaged. One there's nothing wrong with. The reason it costs so much to replace them is they literally have to bypass the lift station, completely take it out of service, drain it, clean it, go down there and basically cut these bolts out of the wet well, bolt new ones into the concrete through some high pressure stuff they use, I guess, to bolt these bolts back down in there and replace these bases. Of the price that you have, I found a breakdown of that $16,320, that's the total price to do this job. $3,840 of that was to test the 3 pumps that are currently at the lift station to make sure they're operable before we put them back into service. They fail. What do we do? I talked with Mario this morning. 2 of them pumps were rebuilt. I'm sure the mayor remembers after the storm, we rebuilt 2 of them, sent them off, have them rebuilt, sent I think $14,000 a piece. So I feel comfortable in testing 1 of them. They price it out for all 3. If we approve that number today, that number would be lower if we want to do it with replacing 1 pump. But we'll go ahead and propose it if all 3 of them need it, if that makes sense. So,
What's your recommendation?
my recommendation is this dollar amount will be, calculator in front of me. Basically, it'd be $12,480 plus $1,280 repairs to replace the test that 1 pump. Because if also remember, part of the MX1's contract, at the end of June, beginning of July, we were getting 2 brand new pumps as part of the rebuild of MX1. So, if 2 of them were getting replaced anyways, do we spend the extra $1,300 and have to go ahead and test it? So we could save $2,600 roughly if we want to get 1 tested, there 2 re-rebuilt.
We would save those pumps as future
Yes.
replacement
They
pumps.
would, all the pumps will be here in the store. If 1 fails, we'll have be able to swap. We'll eventually have a total of 6 pumps in the system. If MX1 or something fails, we have a redundant backup. So, getting them tested would not be a waste of money. I don't want to say it that way, but we would know for sure if this pump works. I hate to say, okay, this pump works. 3 o'clock in the morning, middle of a thunderstorm, the pump goes out. We got to swap one. Put it with a bad pump or a waste of time. So,
And I will mention too that this is a change order, but it is pulling from contingency that's still in the job, so the contract price is not changing. as part of this change order.
So are we sticking with 16,320? It's not more than that.
No, sir.
Is that, I
So
mean,
it's
is
a
that,
lump sum proposal.
Yes, sir.
we're sticking with that?
Yes, sir.
And you're thinking it's gonna be closer to 12?
If we take them other two pumps out, it'll go down $2,600.
Then we would have spares that we aren't 100% sure.
Yeah.
Only
So,
way you use them pumps though is on that one, MX one.
Yes, there's 75 horse, 480 volt, 3-phase. The other station in the city can hold them big pumps. They would be spares for that lift station only,
Just for MX one.
just for MX one.
do they have to have any kind of regular maintenance to make sure that they're still good, or do they
All
get
we do
set
is
up
check.
rust or what?
Once they're put in, all we do is weekly, we check the amps and volts on it. If we start seeing one vary off from what the volts and amps it's currently pulling, then we start realizing, okay, once we hit a certain threshold, then we have a pump manufacturer come out, pull the pump, send it off to make sure there's nothing going haywire inside that pump. The only thing we can check because of the high voltage, because I don't have the proper authorization to check high voltage live like that, we just measure the amps, that's it. Once the amps hit a certain threshold, we send it off. And that's what any lift station pump we have.
Okay.
So is the recommendation for the motion to remain as it's written?
Yes.
All right, questions or a motion to read resolution 20-15?
Make a motion to read resolution 20-15.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Please do so.
A resolution of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, approving change order number 4 to the city's agreement with L&R Contracting LLC, or MX1 Master Lift Station, to test and repair 3 existing pumps for $16,320 to be paid from contingency funds.
Motion for adoption.
Make a motion to adopt resolution 20-15.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Keith?
Yes.
Mr. Pollock?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Call?
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. Under staff reports, Nick, how about you? You got any news for us today?
I don't think so, unless you want me to make something up, so no.
No. All right, well, you're on the list, we'll give you a shot. All right, Mauro, what about your report?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. There's been a good bit of activity coming through the FEMA side of the world, which includes an email that I sent to the council members earlier today. It's about 300,000 or 400,000 coming in for the roads, another 20,000 coming in for the sidewalks, and some money coming in for the Welcome Center. The Welcome Center should go out to bid this week. And then lastly, and most importantly, approximately $7.4 million coming in for the cleanup, KK Storm original phase 1 cleanup. So those monies are probably 2 weeks out, which will help in major ways. This afternoon, we have requested a meeting with the state and FEMA to discuss the dredge side of our process, which has been contested by the Corps of Engineers. So we have one more chance to go to FEMA and the state to see if we can get some direction to our PDMG to direct the people up in Virginia or wherever they are on the CRC to not give us the report that we've already heard through the grapevine that we're going to get, which is that they agree with the Corps of Engineers. We need them to switch that out. And we had a meeting earlier today with Josh and Dina and myself and the mayor to come up with a strategy. And our strategy is still firm that the city did everything according to all the rules and regulations with the backup of FEMA to do the process the way that we did it. And we stand firm that the way that we did it is the right way, and we want them to judge us based on that, not new information that the Corps of Engineers is Monday night quarterbacking on. So we have that meeting today at 4 o'clock. We hope that goes favorable so that when we get the report from the CRC, it's leaning more towards what we're hopeful of, which is 86,000 cubic yards of dredging versus the 53,000 cubic yards of dredging that the Corps is pushing for. If permitted and they rule in the direction that we hope, what it'll allow us to do is to go back in, because we've not completed all the dredging in the canal system. Our dredge permit allows us to go from seawall to seawall and dredge the whole thing down to 5 feet for the main portion of the core of the canal. And if we can get up to this 86,000, it means that we can go all the way out to the ends of 36th Street and so on and do the balance. Right now, we've dredged approximately, sorry, I thought it was a cat flying in the background. We've dredged to date 68,000 yards, and again, so we still have another 20,000 yards to go for, if we can get FEMA to agree with our numbers. If FEMA doesn't agree to our numbers, then we're gonna have to sit here and figure out what we're gonna do with the balance, because they're already saying we've dredged more than what we were supposed to. So that was a big component, but right after our last meeting, or actually just before our last meeting, we hired a city accountant, and not everybody has had a chance to meet our city accountant, so I just finished texting her and asking her to come over. Monique Crooks is right behind us, and she has been on board since 2 weeks ago plus 1 day, and I'm very thankful. I see her every day with a good glowing smile. There's a lot of work to be done. She's currently balancing our books, and she's made it to June of 2019. So again, please understand, Keith, jumped on board, and he went from September of 2018 and got to that March time frame, and then she has come on board and she's been looking at the rest. But before we can really move forward from that day that she started, we really need to backtrack and make sure that everything that we had in the past is made whole. Once we make things whole, then we can start pushing forward. But it's been a great asset to have a smiling face that sees the challenge that we have and is taking it on, steadfast. So.
Good to have you. Welcome aboard.
I went by last week, make sure she was still coming to work. She smiled, she said she was, so thank you.
And then along those lines, in the last meeting, the council approved for us to negotiate with the highest rank RFQ for audit service, James Moore.
Yes.
And we did have a conference call with them the following Thursday, and everything looked good on that. They've already started providing some information to both Keith and Monique for us to work in the right direction, and giving us some goals on what we can and can't do on some limits of numbers and things like that. Way more technical, so they're dealing directly with Monique, and we should be pretty close to signing that contract. Had some tweaks to make on the fine-tuned language, but they are pretty much on board and working with us.
Excellent.
Outside of that, we had a very busy weekend. To the best of my knowledge, from listening to Sandy and the lieutenant, it was pretty close to a 4th of July weekend that happened this weekend here. In talking to Thomas, our water usage, considering the reduced number of units that we have, we used almost the same amount of water that we did before the storm with less homes. So there were a lot of people here. I think one of the things that might be telling us is there are some families that are bringing in additional family members to come over here and enjoy our beach. Plus there's a lot of pent up demand because nobody's been able to go to the beach. So this weekend was a very, very big weekend. So again, it's a lot of work to get things back up and running, but then when you get these big influxes, it tests things. Both the sheriff's office and the fire department had extra people out on the beach this weekend during our busy weekend. I know that Sandy had extra patrols on the beach on their SUV, whatever it's called, and so did Lieutenant Williams. He brought extra people, and he had people on the beach full-time. So a lot of activity there. The beach walkovers are under construction. We did make some calls to them to make sure, and Josh followed suit with that to make sure that they picked up all their debris so that we didn't have construction sites during the weekend. On wood, we can keep that process going because, again, the gate was opened on this weekend and it'll stay open until September, October, so.
Have the walkovers been fixed at Fifth and Seventh where there's a big drop off?
Yes.
Good.
Keep in mind the contractor's responsible for the wooden portion.
Yes.
Once they're done with the wooden portion, then we send our crew out there with either a small excavator or manpower, and they bring in a little bit of sand because keep in mind that design was done 6, 8, 10 months ago. It was
Yes.
set in elevation. Now that the wind is blowing all over the place, there's a bit of difference. So yes, we have gone out there and leveled things.
Good.
And the person that emailed me on that, I did send photographs to that person to show them that we had leveled those.
Well, there's still one that's not.
You'll tell me.
Some of them have little ramps. Some of them don't have anything. We still got some problems.
Fifth
Yeah.
and Seventh
There's more.
especially,
Yeah, there's a couple of at the end where you step off.
at the very end.
It's too big for a step.
It's got,
It's,
Yeah, that's
I will get with Tommy on it and
yeah, we gotta address that.
I'd hate for there to be a lawsuit, somebody falling off the end.
Yeah, yeah. Us elderly people can't make that step.
Yes, true. I can't, I
No,
tried.
it's tough. It's just tough.
Yeah.
Come and Ingo. Before you, are you finished?
yes, sir.
I just want to add on Monique, and this isn't it's not too early to recognize that traditional budget workshops that we know of them, is that, are we gonna have anything to work with?
Right now, we're working on trying to get everything ready for the audit. We've promised the auditor that we'd have balanced books by June. So that's
Okay.
June just to get to the balanced books. I know that Sandy has already started working on his budget numbers. I know that Thomas has already started working on his budget numbers. So yes, we are also working on the budget, but right now one of our other things that we're working diligently on is the
Well, I mean,
audit.
obviously, you know, and some of the new ones, but, I mean, that's a requirement
Most certainly.
that you have to have.
We have to
It's
go out
not-
by
yeah,
the
we
end
have
of
to
September.
submit.
Mhm.
So,
We do have similar obligations on the audit. However, we have already made contact on the audit side that those dates are a little bit more flexible, but on the budget side, we are aware of our.
We did upload a budget, a 2020 budget, but it's not reflecting the real numbers. So, as we go along and find anything that wasn't recorded, then we'll record it and adjust it accordingly.
adjust it.
But we did upload a budget into the 2020, because we
Okay.
know that there is
Yeah.
a time frame on that.
Because Mario, by toward the end of next month, we should put out some kind of schedule for the public.
Yes, sir.
And I know, I'm not trying to,
Yes, sir. No,
I'll come by next week, and make sure you're still here. I'm just saying, that's just part of something that we gotta address in some form. I don't say it has to be like what we are customary to seeing, because I don't know that we can get that detail. We're still working out pool cash.
yes, sir.
Well,
And again, that's, our main focus right now is to reconcile all of our books so that we know where zero is.
right.
Right now, I don't even know where zero is.
I understand.
Once we get there, then we'll start
Okay.
pulling it forward. And then again, Sandy's budget was covered through a grant last year.
Right.
We've already made contact with Alyssa's team to see if there's some way to get that fund back up and running. To give you some not so great news, the HMGP, LMS, the big numbers that we went after the 7 projects on,
Yeah.
the governor put a 18-month hold on that. Bay County's EOC sent a letter out to the governor saying, please don't put a hold on $24 million worth of grant money that we need to make our cities whole, just for us, let alone the other 200 million that's for the balance of Bay County. So I can appreciate that he wants to put it on hold, but on hold to us means that we're not just behind on COVID, we're behind on Michael. So we have pushed back on that request.
I've been following Triumph, and I don't see them discussing about making us whole again this year on our ad valorem tax. Have you heard anything about that? You know, they gave us, was it close to 400,000, I think, give or take a few from, that was the difference in our, what we call our ad valorem reduction value. Have you seen, or have you?
I have not seen on that. However, there is a loan that's out there that is designed to do the same thing. It's $1.3 million. As long as we can prove that we weren't made whole, or not within 5% of being made whole, that we don't have to pay that back.
Right.
Again, until we know where zero is, it's kind
I
of
got
hard
you.
to
I'm
commit to
just-
that, but
I'm-
we do
I'm-
have 1.3 out there.
I'm planting some seeds, cause
Yes, sir.
I'm worried about that pool of cash. At some point, we gotta know where zero is.
Yes, sir. And again, grants like the one that Sandy's team got for 700,000, that goes a long
Oh,
way
yeah,
to
that
keeping
helps.
us, and then also gives us a foot up on all these matches. 'Cause again, remember, we're going after 25 million, but at some point in time, we've gotta have a 25% match on 25 million, and that's a major chunk of money.
My last question for you, did we hear back from St. Joe on our letter? Did we get a revised lease?
No, I have not, but I'll reach out to them. I didn't see any pushback on that, so it should
Right,
be
okay.
fine.
All right, Park, go ahead.
I'm sorry, what, I mentioned it to you earlier, so I want to bring it up to everybody else. The county is doing a 800 megahertz cell tower that is part of telecommunications for all of the emergency responders. It's been in the works for 4 or 5 years. I got a text message from Bob earlier today. We should see those permits coming into City Hall sometime this week. That cell tower goes in the little empty parcel that is at the very western edge of our Public Works Department, between us and the church that's over there. So that is a 200-foot tall cell tower that will provide telecommunications for all emergency services.
Okay, any questions for Mario?
I wanted to know if anything has been discussed about the rebuild of the pier, the city pier.
The $25 million that we went after HMGP is one of those projects.
Okay.
We've gone after $7 million there. The other thing that Dina has been putting together, in our last meeting with FEMA, we have 3 projects that are very large. And when you get to these larger projects, it's really hard to say how much the project is going to cost, i.e. $7 million for a pier is a educated number that we have guessed. They really don't like that. So what they recommended is put together a single project or a single ask from FEMA for all of the architectural and engineering for these larger projects that have not yet been done. So Dina has put together a $1.7 million ask to do the engineering for the jetty, the pier, City Hall, all the other projects that we have not yet gotten committed. And if we get that approved, it'll give us reassurance that we'll at least get paid for the engineering for the city pier. I can pull a number from when Panama City Beach did the city pier and give that as a comparable, but that was done in 2010, so that's a 10-year-old number, and their water's a little different from our water. So it's, again, there's no real apples to apples. Chances of us using the exact same engineer are highly likely, because that engineer has done piers of similar design in Pensacola, in Jacksonville, and Panama City Beach, and Bay County. So if we can get this $1.7 million approved, it would allow us to go out and get that engineer under contract so that we can at least start the design. One of the things that we did go after and did get approved by the governor was a $500,000 ask for the city pier. Our goal with that was $500,000 is about what it costs to design a pier. It is approved. The budget has not been adopted because of COVID. It's been on some level of hold, and we don't know that it'll survive that level of hold because the income coming into the state is less than what was projected. Hopeful that they won't take the one little piece that we did get. We asked for 2 pots of money. We asked for $500,000 for Oleander, and we asked for $500,000 for the city pier. The city pier did get approved, but we're hopeful that it stays approved. Long story for a short question.
All right.
I have some simple questions when you're
Jerry,
ready
you
for
got
me.
all that?
I guess.
Money,
Yeah.
money. What you got?
2 or 3 things. Trash dumpster. We used to have a trash dumpster. People are, a lot of people coming in, and I've been asked by 3 or 4 folks, where did the trash dumpster go? So when they get extra trash,
I could answer that to some degree. Thomas came over to me and said, we've got trash that people are starting to abuse. We've got some contractors that we're going over, and as soon as the police and fire department left Parker Park, it became
yeah,
the commercial dump site.
right.
So we pulled the dumpsters out. We put them back in only 2 days later. We put them back in. We put a camera with a nice big sign that says this is being monitored so that contractors don't abuse it.
Good
So we
move.
do have a dumpster there. We've always had the dumpster over at the boat ramp. I
Okay.
did ask Thomas to look into the potential of getting a bear-proof dumpster because I noticed that the bears are frequenting the one that we have over at the marina to see if that will help that situation. But we do have those 2 dumpsters, and then the other thing that we did in this last mail out for bills, we posted that we're going back to 2-time-a-week pickup. So we should be picking up trash on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, and then Wednesday being more of a commercial and just checking things. And then on Saturday and Sunday, we have a 4-man team. We'll have 2 of those people come in on Saturday and Sunday this week, and then the other 2 come in Saturday and Sunday the next week to cover all the beach garbage cans and the commercial garbage cans that tend to pile
Yeah.
up during the weekend. So
Okay.
Thomas, came in with a plan, and we've implemented that plan, and we put that in as a flyer within our building.
Okay, so the first one's at the boat ramp, and I don't really know where the second one's at.
Parker Park.
Parker.
The 4 used to be 2, as it would.
Okay. Any idea when we're gonna open City Hall?
That discussion, again, every Monday morning typically, but because we had Monday off, we had a Tuesday morning call with the county and health department and quite a few others. That question was asked. They're still suggesting that we hold off a little bit until the next phase of the grand opening that, the governor and the president are doing. But right now, one of the things that's being talked about is, to give you an example, at a large grocery store chain, the people that go into the grocery store chain, fairly light chances of getting anything by going to the grocery store if people follow good precautions. However, for the people that work at that grocery store chain, the chances of them getting something are a little bit higher. So again, similar scenario with us, not saying that we're a grocery store chain, but the repeated exposure in a smaller location does provide a little bit greater risk, so we're waiting for some more data before we release things. And we do have 3 people within the office that are high risk.
Okay. We had a question not long ago about the sand blowing across the road, which is, not a lot of stuff we can do about that, but did have a pretty good idea the other day. And I know at least one homeowner who would contribute. They make silt fence in white, so we could actually run a strip of silt fence just to the right of the hard pan where the people park. It's silt fence, as everybody knows, is 3 feet tall. all the way down through there in the white would not be an attractive. We could end it at the walkways, which may even help us keep people off our dunes, which is crazy. People are crawling on the dunes. It's unbelievable. They walk right by the sign that says, "Don't get on the dunes." And we can't legally enforce, is it illegal for them to be on the dune?
The vegetation rules are not as strict as we hope as far as damaging vegetation, but with us just doing that as a expensive construction project, I think we can find some ways to have more teeth to keep people off.
Yeah, because I mean, they're really, I mean, I've gotten on to several folks, and I know a lot of other people that have. I mean, people at the beach, they'll be sitting at the beach and they'll holler at folks for doing it. So we're getting the public to help us a bit, but you know, we could end that sand coming off of there and going across the road with silt fence, and that may make people walk the edge of the silt fence to the thing. So I think we can do that fairly reasonably.
That shouldn't be that much money. Silt fence is
Um,
fairly inexpensive.
And I don't mind. I've got a crew of guys. I would volunteer my company's services to run the Bobcat and put that silt fence in down through there if the city will pay for the silt fence and, you know, rental of the machine. It's not much money.
I don't like that idea,
You know.
personally.
Okay.
I think putting something on that beach for the purpose of trying to stop sand from blowing is just gonna be, it'll look great the morning you put it up. And somebody's gonna always, it's gonna look hanging down, knocked over, it look just like the silk fence at a construction site. And that's a pretty beach.
So,
That's my opinion.
but we still haven't heard anything from the state as to when they're going to do the vegetation or anything, right?
They're not gonna do anything until the construction is through and the new budget year for the state comes out. Which is it October? It's gonna come close. I've got a call in to Rodney Chamberlain, I can let you, I'll know more.
Okay.
But I have a call in to him to find out, because, that will really be much better than,
Silt fence, sure, absolutely. Okay, that's all I had.
Bob,
Well, would like to go back on the dunes. I would like for all our citizens who's renting or has people come, please inform people of the hard work that had the dunes put up, the silts and all, and please ask people to stay off of it.
With the TDC and see if they can send a broadcast to
Yeah,
some of their groups.
I already talked to Kevin about it.
I'll post something, I'll post something on Facebook and their website too.
That's the best way.
You know, if people can't read or they don't care, one of those, because there's signs everywhere.
yeah,
So,
I
but
totally agree. I've never seen anything like it.
Al's right, our beach is beautiful, I'd love to be able to keep it that way.
Yeah. And that planting is still fragile. I mean, it's not completely rooted, so.
That's it.
Sharon, you have anything?
I think I'm good.
What about you, Jack?
I got two little things. Kathy really did it. Our boat ramp parking, we need to see if we can't work on that with St. Joe, because they were parked down 98 if you was here. We need more room to park boats. Got out of hand, not out of hand. I'm glad to see people here, but they park all up down 90. When it gets on 98, I believe it's gonna get an issue. And they was bad this week. And Kathy did a good job. She put tickets on, people didn't pay. But I'm behind that. Let's at least get a few dollars in. Second thing is between 5th and 6th Street, my next door neighbor found the end of the pier. They got it buoyed off, Tommy and Thomas and all them got it buoyed off. Don't play in the water here, but it's worse than what you think. I mean, we need to try to get it up. And Tommy's working on it, so I know he will, but we need to try to get that out of the water. We can't.
They mentioned to me that they were thinking they may have to take the dredge and dredge around it a little bit to get it out, cause it's stuck. Evidently, whatever it is big and it's
She
stuck.
got cut up pretty bad, and then Nick got cut up pretty bad trying
Yeah.
to get it out, so.
Yeah,
I
okay,
think we need to get that out.
yeah.
And that's all.
Can't pull it. It's
Besides,
too,
they
too
broke it.
embedded.
That's gonna try to get the dredge. They're gonna get Mario to suck around and just blow it out and then try
Yeah.
to hook up the excavator to backhoe something and drag it out there.
They had two pieces of
broke-
equipment that they couldn't get it out with.
I got you.
But it needs to be, it's bad, I mean, it's really,
We don't need nobody getting hurt, we got to keep it buoyed off.
but they got it booed.
I saw the buoys and the tape and all, they did a
Yeah,
good.
Tommy did a good job. Tommy did a good job.
Okay. I got two things, I mentioned Mario, but I really, snapper seasons in relation to the boat ramp, but also in relation to getting our boat slips. And I don't know, I haven't talked to John Lee, I wish I had thought to do that to see, but I know he's getting a lot of requests for boat rentals, boat slips. We gotta look at that, we need that money, we need that income if there's a way to do it and not not have a liability down there. Can we survey that and look at it and see what we think we can do?
Mayor, and I think our best bet is to release the contract that we have on the marina for all of the work that we have that is boat dock related and ramp related and those things. And for right now, just pull the two buildings that are in that bid just out, because those two buildings have gotten, we jumped into that
It was just
neck
premature.
deep the other day,
Absolutely.
and there's some problems with those drawings, so I think in the best interest of the city moving the marina forward, we can release that contract, we've got those monies ready to come in. I say ready to come in, it's one of the things that we will be talking about on Wednesday, is getting that money coming in. And the reason that we've been holding it is I'd like to wait till at least they tell us that it's obligated. Let me see if I can back out those buildings and get them to obligate the monies that we have outside of the building so that we can move that project forward, because as you said, it's important to the city, and getting us moving on that is gonna be better. But I also mentioned the possibility of opening up some level of deck, and just opening up a piece is gonna make it look like the whole thing is open. Opening up a piece without being able to check it is just gonna open up too many liabilities. So until that work is done, it's really dangerous to release anything other than what's already been opened up, which is I think it's only like 10 slips that are currently open.
Okay, well, if there's a way to do whatever we can do to get it, move that meter on the positive side of getting that boat facility, marina facility
Mhm.
open, there's gonna be a high demand for that. All right, and the last thing or the only other thing I have, and y'all may know this, I don't know if you do, about the gas station.
Ooh.
That's the number one, I don't know how many times I get asked about that, probably y'all do too. It's Mr. Keys that we found out is the construction manager or running the company that is going to issue and this isn't good news, so I'll tell you that up front. But it's indicative of what has happened, especially in my involvement in the last 18 months. Finally got the guy through Mario, who also told Mario the same thing, and it was so encouraging that I called him myself. And we were to have the plan submitted 2 Fridays ago, and he was I said, man, you don't know, I feel so good about it. Well, that Friday came, I waited till last Friday, no plans. So there's no gas station in the horizon, and I just don't know anything to do. I've called, Mickey Freed with the State Agricultural Commission, who is over the gas station. I've talked to the county commissioners about, I don't know, I may just send y'all this phone number and let y'all call. Hell, I don't know. I don't know what to do anymore. But it's gonna be difficult to rebuild our town without these fuel. I'm talking about these boaters that come here, you know, I mean, you think about that, they don't wanna pull that boat out every time. The marina isn't geared up to handle that kind of volume of gas. I don't know, it's a bad situation in terms of, I don't know, but that's, I may do that. I may just send y'all the guy's phone number.
I'll call.
I swear, right? Pete, you know, I mentioned that to, I forget who was at the store, I said, I got that guy's phone number. Well, I'd call him, but I don't wanna make him mad. I said, why? Why are we worried about it? I mean, that may sound, but like I told him on the phone, I said, you know, 18 months and y'all can't come to some,
Yeah,
I mean, we need you.
well, we're not mad, we're desperate.
Yeah, that's a better word.
No.
What do you think, Marv? I don't have a problem doing that. Send the council members your phone number.
I'm sending it to them right now.
Are you good? Good.
Make a call.
So 2 weeks ago, this past Friday, he said that the plans would be submitted to the building department.
And this is the owner of the gas station.
I'm gonna tell you, it's a pyramid of owners. There's a landowner, there's a petroleum supplier, and then there's the people that, the operators of the, this guy is with the representing the landowner that is given permission to put the gas station. By the way, the one they're putting back is the one up across from Toucan.
Yeah, okay.
8th Street. And we checked before we came to this meeting, and there's been no plans turned in today, as of today. So I really don't know anything. I mean, he went through all this. They didn't get the amount of insurance money, and the company didn't want to be out. The difference, he said $1.3 million investment. And I told him on the phone, I said, man, you put a Carnex down there portable for a couple $1,000. Well, you know, anything,
Yeah,
anything.
yeah, right.
But no, we're gonna get y'all a good gas station.
Is it the same company, Al?
Same company. It's the same people that had it. None of that's changed.
Well, I think about how much money they've made since they've been here, Al. That's what I'm thinking about, by having that gas station in Mexico
I
Beach.
know
It'd be a big money maker right now.
Can
Exactly.
you imagine? I mean, here we're trying to get boaters back, which is a good economy thing for us. We're trying to get a few people back with our rentals. And it's gonna be, it's a detriment to not have fuel. A lot of these workers have to plan when they drive into town to remember, hey, I
Yep.
better not be low on
Yeah,
gas.
right.
I gotta go somewhere to get it. So,
Well,
I don't know, Dick, you gotta,
can we do any kind of tax incentive for them to talk them into maybe going a year's tax, couple of years, lowering taxes on the
I
place
wouldn't give them a penny.
as incentive?
They've made it up.
I wouldn't give them one red cent.
Okay, so,
I agree with
so,
I begged that guy on the phone before he told me to send the plan. I said, if you can talk somebody and sell that to somebody local here,
Yeah.
we'll get some gas.
yeah, right, okay.
I know, man, they asked for the phone number, and they would say it.
Harold, Jimmy Harold. But anyway, y'all got the number?
Okay,
You know what I know. He promised me, yes, sir, those plans will be at the building department. He gave me the person's name, and we ain't heard another. It's so typical throughout the 18 months that I've run into. It's just that I finally talked to somebody that said he was the construction manager. I mean, you're talking about, now we're talking construction, but hell, ain't no change. So, I've gotten nowhere from anywhere, but maybe if y'all call him and leave a message or talk to him and say,
And you decide how nice you want to be too.
Okay, well, it's a
I
shame we
mean, I
can't,
say that in jest, at some
I
point you
understand.
laugh or cry, I don't know.
yeah, sure.
I
Well,
get
it's a
asked
shame.
Every day.
It's a shame that Bill Mulligan and the guys with the marina couldn't go ahead and put in a pump upstairs or two.
They looked into that,
Did they?
yeah.
And they just
Yeah,
couldn't,
just,
wouldn't
they
let
got
them do it?
some liability, some major liability issues.
Yeah,
And a lot of money for the piping. See, these tanks, he says, are good. I
yeah.
thought initially, the report was that these tanks down here were good and those were bad.
That's what I was told.
I was, but he said, no, these are,
The insurance monies came into this one where they still haven't come into the other.
yeah. Anybody else have anything?
I got one more thing.
Yes, sir.
We talked about it a little bit the other day. I would still like to see go forward with the impact fee study.
Oh, yeah. Thank you
Uh,
for reminding that.
Is, we may be running low on some of our water and sewage and everything else. And we may have to start doing something about that, so I would love to see a study go forward.
Well, I know I talked to Mario and, you know, we're really gonna, it would be bad business for us not to do it, really, essentially, for what it costs for what you
We're
end
gonna
up
get a
in
problem.
the long run, yeah.
We can put out an RFP.
We'll put out an RFP to find out what it would cost to get it done, and then we can compare it to what we can project, you know, just on our own. And it should pay for itself.
Okay. Last call, anybody? Thank everybody for coming. Motion adjourned.
Make a motion.